Hello, I'm Zeus, and I have a complaint. For this complaint, I'd like to complain about complaining. A more accurate translation of Hatuma would be rant, like a small, cute rant. What's funny is that this name started as a joke. You know how a group of sheep is a herd, and a group of fish is a school? The joke is, what do you call a group of feminists? A complaint. I'm a feminist and I wrote this joke, so it's okay to laugh. With time, a lot of people asked me about what it means and why this name in particular. I started thinking, really, even if it's a joke, why? Why is there a common social understanding? And I'm a feminist and I understand it very well, that I thought this was a funny joke without even thinking about it. Why is there the stereotype about feminists? Complaining as an idea and a concept and a definition has to do with the reception of a specific type of speech. It's reception, not the intention of speaking it. If it's about intention, my intention in complaining is to face a problem, analyze it, go back to its history, then raise the right questions before starting to solve it. But that's the opposite of complaining. And that's okay because language is like Play-Doh. You shape it as you use it. And if I use it in a certain way enough times, through history, I can morph its meaning, change its usage, and add to its benefits. But speaking of today, I, as a woman, and especially as a woman, know that when I talk about something that I don't like, something that I don't think is happening properly, something that's bothering me, something that hurts me, that I'm complaining. But if a tall, broad-shouldered man with a voice 2 octaves lower than mine says exactly what I just said, then it's constructive criticism, or he's just venting. The language used to describe it changes. If a man raises his voice and says his opinion, then he's stern and his word means something. If a woman raises her voice and says her opinion, then she's a shrew and she has no sense of decency. Men are competitive. Women are jealous. Men are passionate and have a drive. Women can't control their emotions. Men have focus and have a way to get what they set their minds to. Women are obsessive, and if they want something, they hunt it down. Language. I don't know if anyone's phrased this the way I will right now. Feminism, in my opinion, has been preoccupied with fighting the propaganda against it than actually doing the work it set out to do. There's this negative branding and stigma that we need to get over before we even start discussing anything feminist. Now, when I say everything against feminism is propaganda, it's because it uses a specific language, negative labeling, discoloring, besmirching, distracting. And as a feminist, every time I want to talk about something, I have to give a list of all the things that I'm not. A feminist doesn't have to do this. A feminist isn't necessarily that or this, but there are things that are quite the opposite. We have to reappropriate and use to empower us. No, I'm not obedient, and I'm not going to stroke anyone's ego. If there's something that I don't think is happening properly, I'm going to complain. Feminism, I've come to notice, is a word that's been used to put you off of something. There are these reactions, like people saying, I'm not a feminist, but, and then they start talking about human rights. You're a feminist. It's fine. When someone has feminist beliefs, it is at its core the right to have options. Every person has to be able to choose what they want to do with their lives. All kinds of people. Women, like men, should be able to choose what they want to do. It's not that scary image you've been told about. And every science and field of study has a big feminist aspect that needs to be studied and understood properly. If it's not in the field of study itself, then it's in its practice. Every fight or struggle has as one of its biggest features a feminist perspective. That's just how it is. Every school of feminism, since the establishment of the movement, has been for revolutionary causes, to change an oppressive system, and it's tied to the base of a struggle against an oppressive, tyrannical, colonialist system. The stigma that's placed on feminism is just a set of smear campaigns, and we have to be mindful, like we would with any other campaign, who has to benefit from it, and why is it their goal to silence a revolutionary movement such as this? So let's go back to our main topic. What is a complaint? Who's called a complainer, and why? What's the difference between complaining and constructive criticism? What's the purpose of calling speech complaint? Would you listen to someone if their speech was labeled as complaining? If a speech has been given the stigma of a complaint, I will clog my ears before I even know what they're going to talk about. I probably wouldn't even give them a chance to speak. One of the best thinkers that we have today, in my opinion, is Sarah Ahmed. Her writing discuss our usage of everyday language and how it's an indicator to our understanding of what's natural and what's axiomatic, even though language is a social construct that exists to serve the more commonly accepted systems. A while back, she came out with a book called Complaint. When I first saw the book, I got so happy. It was as if my favorite musician came out with a single that has my name in it. And after I read it, I realized that these video essays that I do, The Complaint, is part of something much bigger than me, that belongs to a marginalized language that tries to raise the voices that are unwritten, the voices that are unheard, that were stamped with a stigma before they were even spoken. The book focuses on institutional complaints specifically. It's funny how the word minority does not imply quantity. Females on this planet outnumber males, but they're considered a minority. Like many minorities that outnumber, the more powerful group in society. So when we say minority, it is a minority in voice. The higher someone is in a society gives their voice a higher reverberation because of that position that they have. Voice is strength. When I silence you, I take away your strength. So in representation and power, in representing society, institutional or legal representation, every system in every society needs representation of that society, a smaller group of people. The voice of the minority, often, if even represented at all, is represented as a minority, from higher political leadership positions to the lowest of managerial roles. What's the male to female ratio? We know it. What's funny is the results of the schooling system imply the opposite of that. So we know that it's not a matter of who is better suited for that leadership position. There's something else being said here. Where did that decision come from to choose specific people to join the powerful voices and to exclude other minority voices? And now, again, with the same question that we have to repeat without anyone getting their feelings hurt. Why do we need diversity in leadership positions? Because any place in society that's responsible for the decisions that have to do with the basic infrastructure, for bettering the quality of life, for the general public's interest, there has to be representation from every demographic of society. Why do we need a representation? I'll tell you why. If I want to form a committee that discusses health and the majority of planet is females, and an even larger demographic is often taken care of by women, children, how is that committee not made up almost entirely, if not 100% of women? This isn't about women empowerment. This is about focusing on the quality of the society that we're trying to build. This isn't about sexism and what you prefer. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm trying to talk about results. Keep your opinion and your biases to yourself and look at what's good for society, for your children and their children, objectively. For whom are you building? How big is the world that you know? Are you aware of how big it is that you don't know? How many voices did you decide on not hearing before they even spoke? And how many of them could expand the world that you're so comfortable in? Thank you.